Hey guys, here's a question for you. Have you ever been in that place where discomfort is so overwhelming, so heavy, that you just want to escape it? You might think, man, if I could just make any decision right now, I would feel better. Maybe it's a decision about your identity, your relationships, or your future. And the weight of not knowing feels unbearable. So you start leaning towards the easiest option, the one that promotes quick relief, even if you're not convinced that it's the best choice. But here's the thing, that discomfort you're feeling, that tension, man, that's not something to run from. It's something to lean into because discomfort is where growth happens. It's where faith deepens, where strength is built, and where life becomes an adventure worth living. Let's talk about it. My name is Jason Mellard. I'm a certified high-performance coach, husband material coach, and the founder of Own Your Identity. I'm committed to empowering men to live beyond their unwanted same-sex attractions and into their purpose through the power of Christ and for the glory of God. Today, I want to talk about why it's so important to hold space for what seems impossible. I'll share stories, my own, my wife's, and my friends, about resisting the urge to escape discomfort and instead embrace it as a teacher. And I'll give you some actionable steps to help you stay open, vulnerable, and hopeful, even when the path forward isn't clear. So if you've ever felt stuck, scared, or tempted to settle for less just to avoid the pain of waiting, this episode is for you. Let's start with this. When we're uncomfortable, our first instinct is to escape. We want to make a quick decision, often, to take the easy way out, and to just end the tension. For some of us who experience same-sex attraction, that might mean jumping into the gay lifestyle because the idea of being attracted to a woman or living a meaningful life without another man just feels impossible. For me, it was leaning toward the decision to never get married because getting my hopes up and being disappointed just seemed too painful. For my wife, it was the temptation to decide that she would never be a mom because the fear of failing her children or letting herself, her family, or God down was so overwhelming. But here is what I've learned. Those reactive decisions, the escape from discomfort, it doesn't lead to freedom. It leads to regret. Because when we make decisions out of fear, we close ourselves off to possibility. We shut the door on what God might be trying to do in our lives. And we rob ourselves of the chance to grow, to imagine, to believe in something greater than our fear. The discomfort you're feeling isn't a sign that you're broken or stuck. It's a sign that you're on the edge of something transformative. It's an invitation to pause, to reflect, and to trust that clarity will come. So let me share these 3 stories that help to illustrate this. The first is from my life. When I was single, I hated the pressure I felt to answer the question, could marriage to a woman be for me? It came to mind often, and I just wanted to put the question to bed. I wanted to feel in control. So I said, no. I just didn't get aroused when staring at women. They weren't as exciting as men, and I felt like they should be. It stressed me out. I mean, I enjoyed being around women. I just wasn't that interested. Marriage appealed to me in some ways, but mostly it scared the heck out of me. Shutting the door on it would calm my nerves. I remember sitting in my car after a social event and just declaring to myself, I'm not going to get married. I was tired of getting my hopes up and wondering if it was possible. It was a relief to say that. But with the next breath, I felt a check in my spirit. Man, who was I to make such a decision? I thought. It's God's to make. So I took back my words. I decided to keep an open hand and hold marriage loosely. I chose to remain in the discomfort. Instead of rushing the decision, I asked myself, I don't know, what does love mean to me? What does commitment mean? And I realized that clarity wasn't going to come from escaping the discomfort. It's going to come from sitting with it, learning from it, and staying open for what God's best was for me, whatever that might be. I leaned into God when I felt uncertain or discouraged. I connected with others by sharing my feelings and inner conflict about marriage. I learned to let go of control, and it made room for my wife when God invited her into my life. The second story is my wife's. When we dated, she was dead set against having kids. She wasn't qualified to be a mom, she thought. She would only cause them pain. Her dysfunctional home and poor choices as an adult gave her plenty of evidence. The following is just one of the scenes which proved her inadequacy. One evening, when she was a young girl, she and her sister sat fearfully in the bathtub of their Florida home. Her neighbors had evacuated in advance of a hurricane, but not her family. As she and her sister waited for the worst of the storm to pass, the argument their drunk parents screamed at each other passed through the wall to their ears. She told herself that all she knew of parenting was neglect, selfishness, and pain. Surely she would pass that on to her own children. I was driving her home from a date when she asked me if I wanted to break off our relationship. I know you want kids, but I don't, she said. I told her I loved her. I asked, would you be willing to keep it as an option in case God decides otherwise? Do you believe that God is good and knows what is best? To my relief, she answered yes. And that's all I needed to hear. But it did put her in a vulnerable state. She might get hurt. And she did get hurt. Over time, God put a desire for motherhood in her heart. Her emotions were all over the place when we began trying to have kids. Her heart was on a roller coaster ride when we were told by the doctors that it wasn't possible. Why would you ask me to keep my heart open if you're just going to break it? She asked God. But looking back, as painful as it was, she was glad that she risked a broken heart over keeping a closed heart. She had lived more fully in the meantime. Our relationship had deepened, her faith had strengthened, and she had developed resiliency. God helped her to trust him with her heart, even if she didn't understand what he was doing with it. She was able to pass that strength on to others. My third story is about a friend of mine, a friend with one foot in the gay lifestyle and one out. His mind was working overtime. I want to return to my ex-boyfriend, he said. I want it more than anything. I miss him, but I'm afraid it will send me to hell. My family will reject me. But if I don't go back to him, I'll feel lost, he said. He saw me. He knew me more than anybody else. He saw just two choices: return to the excitement and richness of that risky relationship, embracing a gay lifestyle, or step into a bland life of being misunderstood, hiding his desires for men, with a future defined by the expectations of others. Why would God put me through this? He asked. Two impossible paths. A decision that felt so pressing, coloring every moment of his life. He felt caught between the fear of going to hell and the fear of hell on earth. I told him, you don't have to decide yet. Just pause, breathe. Believe your life is valuable enough to hold your options loosely without judging them or being afraid. Take time to let go of the pressure to decide and consider what deeper longings you may have and what it is you truly want. Your ex-boyfriend can wait for you. The gay lifestyle, it might keep calling, but you don't have to answer right now. A life without sex with guys, which may seem bleak, can go on, hold for a bit too. I encouraged him to take time to get curious, gain clarity, and find the softness in God's eyes when all he had known was a scowl. And he agreed. Each of these stories is about resisting the urge to escape discomfort and instead embracing it as a teacher. And I share them because I want you to know you're not alone in this. We all face these moments. And the way forward isn't to avoid the discomfort, it's to embrace it, to let it shape us, and to trust that we'll figure it out. So why is it so important to hold space? I believe because that's where life happens. That's where you grow stronger, where your faith deepens, and where you inspire not just yourself, but everybody around you. When you stay open instead of closing off, you create space for what God can work in ways you can't even imagine. You allow time for your imagination, which has likely been busy imagining the worst, to start imagining the best. You increase your vulnerability, which opens the door to deeper relational connection. And you give yourself permission to hope, to dream, to love, to fail, to get hurt, and to rise again. That's the stuff of life. That's what makes life an adventure worth living. Believe me, it all starts with a willingness to sit in the discomfort, to hold space for the impossible, and to trust that something beautiful is on the other side. So now, I want to leave you with some actionable steps to help you lean into discomfort. 1. Pause and reflect. When you feel the urge to make a quick decision just to escape discomfort, pause. Take a deep breath. Journal about what you're feeling. Ask yourself, what is this discomfort teaching me? What might be possible if I stay open? 2. Reframe the discomfort. Instead of seeing discomfort as a problem, see it as a sign of growth. Remind yourself, this tension means I'm on the edge of something transformative. 3. Imagine the best. When your mind starts imagining the worst, challenge it. Ask yourself, what's the best case scenario here? What if this turns out better than I could have imagined? 4. Stay vulnerable. Share your fears and hopes with someone you trust. Vulnerability creates connection, and connection gives you strength. 5. Take one brave step. You don't need to have the whole path figured out. Just take one step forward, even if it's small. Trust that clarity will come as you move. 6. Pray and meditate. Ask God for guidance. Spend time in quiet reflection. Open yourself to the possibility that something greater is at work in your life. And lastly, 7, celebrate your courage. Every time you resist the urge to escape discomfort, celebrate that. Acknowledge your bravery. You're doing the hard work of growth, and that's worth honoring. So, here's my challenge to you. The next time you feel the weight of discomfort, don't run from it. Don't rush to escape it. Instead, lean into it. The following is a prayer that I offer God in the midst of discomfort and waiting, inspired by 17th century theologian Richard Aileen. It invites God to do what he wants in my life, believing that I'm better off for it because I will have lived more fully in the process. God, I am no longer my own, but yours. Bring me to what you will, to action, to waiting, to joy, to suffering. Let me be used by you, set aside for you, or brought low for you. I can be full or empty. I can have all things, or I can have nothing. I freely and heartily surrender my life to you because I know that is where life is found. And finally, I'd like you to slow down for a minute and do something with me. Wherever you are, in the car, at the gym, between classes, I invite you to pause. Quiet your mind. Hold your hands out if you can, palms up. Take some deep breaths in through your nose and out through your mouth. As you breathe in, say, "For God alone." And as you breathe out, say, "My soul waits in silence." For God alone, my soul waits in silence. Don't rush. Picture peace filling you. Expect God to speak. Pause this episode and continue as long as you would like. The adventure that God has in store for your life is a gift, but you can only receive it if you let go of the need for certainty. Please sit in the discomfort long enough to receive it. You've got this. I'll talk with you soon.